This is Kotaro, Ryu's 2-year-old baby brother. They lost both their parents in a horrific plane crash. Today they will see the chairwoman of a school, who lost her children in the same plane disaster, and now wishes to adopt them. Upon entering, the chairwoman inquires, "Why are you so late? I've been waiting for you since the morning." In response, Kotaro addresses her as Shaggy. Ryu hastily closes his mouth to apologize to her. The chairwoman then says, "In exchange for living with me, you have to work as a part-time babysitter at my school." After that, Siawa leads them to the daycare, where they witness children playing with one another. Siawa informs them that this is the babysitter club, which was founded by the chairwoman's son, but was never created due to a lack of membership. Ryu concurs. "As the first member of the club, I'll do everything I can for the babysitter club." Siawa wipes his eyes, explaining that his nobility has moved him to tears. He then bids Ryu good luck and departs. Ryu opens the daycare room. All the kids stop playing and look at them. They then rush to Siawa and hide behind him. One of the kids yanks on their caretaker's ear, causing him to wake up and announce himself as the new babysitter. The man approaches Ryu and introduces himself as Yusaida Yoshihito, a graduate of this institution and the only caregiver. The children ask Yusaida, "Can we play with them?" Yusaida says, "First, introduce yourselves," and everyone shouts their names at once. Yusaida instructs them to create a naming train and identify themselves. The first name is Kirin. The second one is Taka. Takuma, Kazuma's twin brother, comes in third. Midori is the youngest. Ryu then presents Kotaro and places him down, but Taka refers to him as a monster, instructing everyone to assault Monster Kotaro. Ryu interrupts them and says, "I can be the monster for you." They all attack him, jabbing him with toy swords and pulling on his cheeks. Kotaro notices they are bullying his brother and tries to help him, but he is repeatedly knocked back. He does not know what to do. Ryu instructs him to play elsewhere, stating, "I'll be fine." Kotaro goes to the bookshelf and pulls a book. He then focuses on Ryu, who is surrounded by other children. Yusaida inquires, "Do you want your big brother back?" Kotaro nods. He then inquires, "Should I read this book for you?" Kotaro shakes his head and stares at Ryu. Yusaida recognizes his loneliness and pats him, saying, "In this room, he won't notice you unless you call him." Yusaida immediately telephones Ryu and informs him, "My shift is over." He then passes Midori to Ryu and asks, "Will you handle the kids by yourself?" Ryu answers, "Yes, I'll do that." As Yusaida departs, he reflects, "I would have stayed if you had asked me." Ryu is changing Midori's diaper, and Taka strikes him. Kirin approaches and inquires, "Are you hungry?" "I've made food." She then drags Midori, stating, "I'll be mama and you be the baby, Midori." Ryu interrupts her, stating that it could be harmful. Suddenly, she is taken aback when the twins run through her food. Kazuma falls down and prepares to cry, but Ryu scoops him up. Takuma pats him and says, "Pain, pain, fly away," which helps Kazuma feel better. Kirin is saddened to see her food damaged, so Ryu consoles her. Midori begins to cry, and Ryu hastily scoops her up. Taka climbs on him again and begins pulling his ears. Ryu then glances at Kotaro, asking whether he's okay, and Kotaro nods. Taka, however, assaults him again, distracting Ryu's attention, and Kotaro appears to feel alone. The children's mothers arrive, and they rush into their arms. When Kirin's mother asks who Ryu is, he identifies himself. The mothers introduce themselves as well. Yukari is Midori's mother, Yumi is Takuma and Kazuma's mother, and Yui is Kirin's mother. Ryu says, "It's nice to meet you guys. This is my baby brother, Kotaro." Everyone greets Kotaro while he looks at his book. Now they're all waving at Ryu and saying, "See you tomorrow." Just as Ryu enters the room, Taka's brother approaches and says, "Taka, it's time to go." He stares at Ryu and inquires, "Who are you?" Ryu explains, "I'm the new helper here in middle school, 3rd year." Taka's brother tells him, "My name is Hayato, and I am in the same grade as you. So you're a transfer student attending our class." Ryu agrees and thinks, he seems pretty scary but a decent guy. Taka informs his brother, "I'm not going home." Hayato responds, "You are going." Taka responds, "No, I'm going to play with Ryu more." He is hit and starts crying. Ryu responds, "You didn't have to hit him." Taka strikes Hayato's legs and calls him a mine. Hayato proposes that Ryu care after his own brother, who appears lonely all by himself. Ryu replies, "Right." Hayato then departs with Taka. Ryu approaches Kotaro and asks him, Do you want me to read that book for you? But Kotaro collapses onto Ryu's lap, gasping heavily. Ryu hurries outside, catches up with Hayato, and begs him to show him the nearest hospital. His sibling has a fever. Hayato accepts and swiftly drops Taka off at their mother's office before running with Ryu to the hospital. On the way, Ryu wonders, why did I leave my baby brother all alone? At the hospital, while Kotaro is lying on the bed, the doctor informs Ryu that the fever could be caused by stress from a change in environment. After some rest, he'll be fine. Later, the nurse tells him he can take Kotaro home once he wakes up. Ryu then comes outside and considers contacting his parents, but tears fall on the phone as he realizes they are no longer alive. He begins crying, believing that his parents would never return and that Kotaro is all he has now. Just then, the chairwoman places her hand on him and says, "So you're finally crying." She recalls the day of the burial, when she noticed that she, Ryu, and Kotaro were the only people who were not crying. He replies, "Those we have lost will not come back, but that does not mean that we are alone in this world." Tears fall from his eyes. After that, Ryu joins the hospital. The nurse emerges with a wailing Kotaro and informs him, Kotaro has been crying since he woke up. Kotaro extends his arms, and Ryu hugs him, calling him an idiot for not phoning sooner. He wonders if Kotaro has understood they will not see their parents again. That night, the chairwoman arrives to tuck up their covers. Ryu bursts into tears once she leaves, understanding that the chairperson was correct. No one is truly alone. The following morning, the chairwoman asks Siawa, "Where did these shabby flowers come from?" Siawa adds, "Ryu and Kotaro picked these flowers for you." He then prepares to discard them, but she retrieves them and blushes, saying, "I changed my mind." Meanwhile, a teacher invites Ryu to identify himself. He stutters, but when he stares at Hayato, he gains confidence and introduces himself. Taka at the daycare asks Kotaro if he wants to read his favorite book with him. Kotaro nods, and the other children smile with delight. Later, Ryu reads the Power Rangers book. Taka replies, "I'm the Red Ranger, but Takuma wants to be the Red Ranger, as does his brother." Kirin explains, "I'm the Pink Ranger." Usaida falls asleep while holding Midori. The next morning, Ryu awakens to see Kotaro resting on his chest. He groggily sits up and hugs him, knowing they are no longer with their parents. Ryu is startled as the old hag slams the door open, demanding them to get out of bed and prepare for school. Siawa claims he has already made them breakfast and lunch. While the old hag is lecturing them, Kotaro snatches her hair and calls her Shaggy. She cautions him, "If you call me Shaggy again, I'll give you the same haircut." Siawa imagines him and finds it cute. She then gives Ryu with a school uniform, as he will be a student at her academy. He expresses gratitude as she leaves, knowing she went to the trouble of purchasing a new uniform. At the daycare, as Kotaro removes his shoes, Usaida is startled that the cheap steak hag would purchase a uniform for Ryu. He then tells Kotaro, "I'm going to class. I'll be back at lunchtime," he says before dropping him off at daycare. As he walks to class, he feels humiliated since other pupils are staring at him. Just then, Hayato enters and says, "It's because you brought kids along with you." Ryu turns around to inquire, "What are you doing here?" Taka reveals that Kotaro wanted to follow you, so we came along. Kotaro hugs Ryu as other children invite him to play, embarrassing him. So Hayato raises his fist to silence them, and Taka flees in tears, calling his brother a poopy head, and runs into a tough girl. She questions why the youngsters are here and chastises them for turning school into a playground. The youngsters begin to scream in fear and hug Ryu. He apologizes and returns the children to daycare. This girl is Inomata, the school's top student, yet her behavior has caused others to comment on how harsh she is to Ryu. She ignores them and walks away. Meanwhile, they return to the daycare and discover Usaida asleep as usual. Hayato strikes him, jolting him up from his peaceful slumber. Ryu notices Kotaro, who appears to be sad over what happened. He pats his head to make him feel better. Inomata appears and delivers Taka his lost lunch, which was delivered by his mother, a teacher at their school. However, witnessing her, the children quake with fear. Just before Inomata is about to leave, Usaida yells out in anguish, stating that his stomach hurts. He asks Hayato to accompany him to the nurse's office and directs Ryu and Inomata to look after the kids while he is away. They are stunned as they watch them go away. Ryu assures Inomata that he can handle on his own. "You may return to class." She is determined to stay in order to perform the responsibility Usaida has assigned to her. However, the children huddle behind Ryu like terrified squirrels, avoiding her presence. Inomata then offers to hold Midori as she sleeps. She turns red and exclaims, "I just want to help out." Her voice awakens Midori, who begins to cry, and Ryu attempts to calm her. Taka pokes Inomata with his toy sword, and all the children prepare to attack her, labeling her a villain. Inomata angrily questions who they are naming the villain, surprising them. Ryu notices Inomata tearing up and encourages the kids to apologize for their misbehavior. But she does not want their forced apologies, and she feels sad for Ryu, who is burdened with caring for unruly children. Ryu smiles and replies, "They are not a burden." But he is struck by a pillow thrown by Inomata, who exclaims, "Don't give me that smile." She hurls plush toys at him and complains that he is popular among children while she is unpopular. She excels at nothing else but studying. Kirin places her hands on her lap, and Inomata wipes her tears. She says, "Don't cry," and all the kids stare at her through tears. She hugs them, and they all apologize to her. Soon, we discover her quietly sleeping with the children. Later, Ryu asks Kotaro why he's staring at the tiger on his sweater. Kotaro says that he is sad because Taka ridiculed him, calling it foolish to wear a tiger t-shirt when he has never seen a real tiger. Taka responds, "I just told the truth." Hayato slaps his head and chastises him for insulting Kotaro. Taka sobs, "You always do this to me, brother. You just hate me." Hayato plainly states that he neither likes nor dislikes him, which causes Taka to cry even more. Taka rushes up to Usaida, yelling, "I hate you, brother." Hayato picks up Taka and takes him home. Later, Ryu says to Kotaro, "Let's go to the zoo together this weekend." Other kids also express a desire to visit the zoo. Usaida appears and proposes that he take them all, so he agrees to tag along because he can get paid for working weekends. While Kotaro is eating dinner, Ryu asks the chairperson for permission to go to the zoo. She agrees but refuses to pay Usaida because the mothers are also attending the vacation. Ryu urges her to join, but she declines, claiming it's a nasty place. On the day of the excursion, Siawa delivers Ryu a huge lunchbox and money from the trip's chairwoman. At the zoo, Ryu offers to compensate Usaida with the money he received. Usaida declines, but prepares to photograph the children and sell them to fathers who are unable to attend. Hayato appears in basketball gear and drops Taka off since he needs to go to practice. They've all started visiting animals. First, the children are amazed to see the elephant. Usaida takes multiple photos of the children as they watch various animals with excitement. The youngsters become afraid when a tiger roars through the glass. They all run to Usaida and their mothers, shivering with horror. Kotaro is still standing in front of the tiger, unconcerned. Ryu notices complete horror on his face. He takes up Kotaro, knowing that if they were in the wild, he would be eaten first. Then they see the adorable tiger cubs. Usaida determines it's time for lunch, so Ryu walks to the lockers to get his sandwich. He notices Kotaro gazing at something and turns to find a family enjoying the zoo together. He envisions his own parents. Just then, Usaida calls and tells him to hurry. The mothers applaud Siawa's fantastic lunchboxes, which are filled with adorable animal-shaped goodies. After lunch, Usaida photographs the children with rabbits, knowing that the fathers will purchase this adorable photograph. Kotaro points to a sheep and labels it Shaggy, just like the chairperson. Ryu and Kotaro approach the old lady as Usaida takes their picture. Taka then shows Kotaro a hawk and brags that his name also means hawk. Ryu tells Taka that the falcon named Hayabusa also bears Hayato's name. Taka denies that Hayato is his brother before taking Kotaro and leaving. After that, they go to the toy shop. The children pick up toys and ask their mothers to purchase them. Kotaro wants a keychain that resembles the shaggy old woman. Ryu takes him to pay for it, leaving Taka under Usaida's care. Usaida offers Taka to purchase a keepsake for his brother, but Taka blushes and says, "I don't want one." Just thereafter, he spots someone who resembles his brother and chases after him. When Usaida is choosing souvenirs, the others approach him, but Taka is absent. Taka goes after his brother. But when the man turns to look at his watch, Taka knows he is not his brother. He considers turning back and starts to run, but he trips and falls. When he realizes he is lost, he cries for his bigger brother. Just then, Hayato arrives and scoops him up. He calls him an idiot and says that a man should not cry because he is lost. Ryu also arrives and is happy to discover Taka is fine. Hayato strikes Taka and orders him to apologize. Everyone bids their goodbyes at the end of the day. Ryu is relieved that Hayato has arrived and informs Taka that he has been feeling lonely without him. Hayato informs him that he came because his mother had slapped him for leaving Taka alone. Kotaro and Taka are sleeping. Taka murmurs in his sleep, "I love you, brother." Hayato adds, "Idiot, I don't hate you either." Ryu taunts Hayato, "Even if you appear cold, I know you love your brother so much." The following day, when Kotaro is reading a book, the other children are playing. Usaida looks at the calendar and discovers it is Valentine's Day. He calls the children closer and extends his hands, but they remain expressionless. Kotaro places his hand on Usaida's. Usaida responds, "Not this. I want your moms to send me Valentine's Day gifts." The children all exclaim that they have nothing, and Usaida sighs. Meanwhile, Valentine's Day chatter is spreading among the girls in class. They ask Yuki, a shy girl, if she likes anyone, but she gets flustered and nervously chuckles. A boy asks Ryu whether anyone has given him Valentine's chocolate. When Ryu rejects it, Yuki smiles, relieved because she has a crush on him. Just then, a female offers Hayato chocolate, which he declines, adding, "I don't like it." Boys yell out, "You freak. If you don't want it, then give it to us." The major attraction is Yagi, a smart student who is showered with chocolates by the girls. This enrages Inomata, because gift-giving is prohibited on school grounds. Girls argue, "What is your problem? You are just being a stick in the mud." Yagi steps in and says he'll accept these nice offers. After class, he asks Inomata, "You were helping babysitters yesterday, correct? I am truly interested in joining the babysitter club. Do you know anything about it?" Inomata recalls that the daycare center is accepting new members. She yells, "Ask the club yourself," and walks out. Yagi's friend Nizu is silently observing things. Inomata considers the girl's words and admits she is a stick in the mud. She sobs, "Wherever I go, I spoil the fun." She is afraid of going back to daycare because she believes the children will detest her as well. Now Yagi goes to the daycare area and requests to join the babysitter club. Ryu is overjoyed to have someone exhibit interest in babysitting. He then introduces himself and each of the children at daycare. Yagi introduces himself and compliments Kirin on her cute pigtails, which she joyfully shows off. He then adds, "Taka, you're cool, just like your brother." He responds enthusiastically, "Yes, I am cool." He compliments Midori's eyes, which pleases her. He tells Takuma and Kazuma, "You both look like best friends." Ryu is astounded by how fast Yagi connected with the youngsters. While in the library, Inomata overhears two boys complain that Yagi is constantly staring at children, and she rushes to the daycare to help them. Meanwhile, Yagi smiles, which worries Ryu. Yagi remarks, "Kotaro looks round and plump," and just as he touches him, Inomata comes in and throws the door open, ordering Yagi to stop. She is surprised to see blood on the floor, but realizes Yagi has a nosebleed from poking Kotaro's cheeks. But the cause is also sinister. Yagi's pal Nizu enters in the daycare room and accuses him of being a pervert. Horrified, Ryu snatches the kids away from Yagi, who denies the claims, stating, "I got a nosebleed from eating too much chocolate." However, Nizu points out, "I didn't see you eating any." He drags him away, and Yagi agrees not to join the group, but he asks if he can come by sometimes to poke the youngster's cheeks. Usaida pokes Midori's cheek and says, "Poking is fun." The children have only recently learned about chocolate and are eager to try it. Yagi begins to offer them some chocolate, but Nizu stops him. The kids ask Inomata for chocolates, but she says it's against school rules, which makes them cry. However, she cheers them up by promising chocolate for tomorrow, and they begin to bounce with joy. Ryu and Inomata walk home together as the day concludes. He tells her to wait while he runs into the store. After a few moments, he returns, and Kotaro presents her a small box of chocolate. Ryu responded, "It's all right to give chocolates off campus." Inomata responds, "I'm just a stick in the mud." Ryu says he enjoys this about her. When he says goodbye and walks away, Inomata turns red. Yuki surreptitiously pursues them, wondering if they are in a relationship. Meanwhile, Yagi is purchasing chocolates for children and tells Nizu, "I can imagine Kotaro's cheeks stuffed with chocolate, while he nosebleeds at night." Siwa presents Ryu and Kotaro chocolate that he cooked himself. Kotaro attempts to reach for one, so Siwa assists him. After accepting the chocolate, Kotaro asks his brother to open his lips, and Ryu consumes it before thanking Kotaro, who smiles. Meanwhile, Inomida is looking for the greatest chocolates for daycare kids. The boys tremble in the cold the next morning during physical education class. Ryu wonders how Hayato stays still. Hayato admits he is cold, and a boy says, "Are you a crybaby?" Usaida then appears in a cart, accompanied by the children. They enthusiastically ask him to let them out of the cart. Ryu is immediately comforted by the children's warmth. Ryu questions Usaida about the cart, and he claims he uses it to keep the kids from wandering off during hikes. "They're just like animals." The children exclaim, "You idiot, Usaida. We're not animals." In response, Usaida shocks them by stating, "What if you brats are kidnapped by a strange man, locked up in a dark room where no one can hear your screams, and then gobbled up whole?" Ryu tells Usaida not to worry them since they are extremely scared. However, he warns the children against going out with strangers. The other males see Ryu looks much warmer when surrounded by children, so they creepily put out their arms towards them. They follow them, refer to them as heat packs, and even fight over them. A mystery man stands nearby, watching the children. Ryu stops two students from approaching Kirin, who is hiding behind Usaida. Taka rushes to his brother and asks for help. A boy snatches Kazuma, who bawls in horror. Ryu notices Takuma crawling into the bushes and beckons him back. The stranger is standing before him. As he enters, he grabs him. Ryu passes Kotaro to a boy and runs to Takuma's aid, shouting at the stranger to leave him go. Hayato takes off his shoe and throws it at the stranger. It's a direct hit. That's a baller move. Takuma smiles happily as the stranger descends, cradling him. Usaida thanks Takuma on his accurate pitch, and Ryu inquires as to whether Takuma is familiar with this individual. Takuma excitedly informs them that he is his and Kazuma's father. At the daycare center, the man says, "Sorry for all the fuss." He introduces himself as Kiriyama, the father of Takuma and Kazuma. Ryu notices the children staring silently at him and inquires whether they are afraid. The father responds softly, "Don't worry, I'm not a bad guy." Takuma and Kazuma, meanwhile, remain hidden behind Ryu. Kiriyama tries to hold them, but they shudder and refuse to approach him. Ryu realizes that something is awry. Usaida notes that the twins have always been apprehensive around men, especially strangers, and that because their father has been gone for so long, they may not identify him correctly. Kiriyama is unhappy but accepts it, quietly stating, "I just want to be a part of their lives again." He informs them that he had to relocate far away for work and couldn't visit frequently, but he missed them every day. Thank you for watching to this point. For the anime name, check the comment section. For part 2 and more interesting anime recaps. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We got other anime recaps for you. Check our playlist or choose a video. Thanks again for watching.